everyone, welcome to this video. I'm going to be writing a new piece of music from scratch, and I have some things in mind for how I want to approach it. I'm picturing a scene in my mind, and that's going to have a character who's preparing to travel somewhere, and that thing they're traveling toward is important, an important thing that they need to do. So there will be a certain energy behind it. And then this is also going to be set in a fantasy world. And the character is going to be traveling by a flying, mystical creature, maybe an owl, because I recently found out about this owl called an elf owl, which is actually a very small owl, but a big owl of some sort might be kind of cool. And then the tone of this, I want it to be not apprehensive, but confident in knowing what they're doing. So they're not worried about what's coming up. They will probably be thoughtful at some point and introspective, but not apprehensive. They're not worried about what's coming up. And I recently found an approach to writing music of any sort, that I think could be helpful to use today, because I get so lost in doing multiple things at one time, where I'm trying to create, and I'm also trying to figure out what instruments I want to use, and I'm also trying to get the right sound and the right mix. For this, I have it all planned out already. So the structure is, I'm going to start with 8 bars, which we're going to call A, which is just like a calm tone setting part where it's very patty, or a pedal tone where it's just kind of a solid sound, probably not that much going on harmony-wise, not too much movement there. But then in the next 8 bars, A prime, it's going to basically repeat, probably build a little bit in overall size and in instrumentation, add pieces to more instruments to thicken it up a bit, as well as add some sort of melody in there that's just barely present, doesn't stick out too much, or it's not too bold, but I want that to be kind of like the main theme for this character. And then to bridge the gap here, I'm calling it A plus section. I don't know how other people usually would denote a section like this, but it's just a transition 2 bars. After that transition, those 2 transition bars, I'm going to go to a new section B, which is 8 bars. And this is going to be where the character is beginning to prepare for traveling. So I'm going to start building some anticipation and some motion in here. So where the A sections are a little bit more, not flat, but there isn't too much movement because they're about to start going here, I want to start getting more motion, more rhythmic elements into the piece. The next section, B prime, is just 4 bars instead of 8 bars, because I want to get quickly on after that. So this part is going to be adding more texture again, just like I did from A to A prime, increasing the amount of parts being played, and maybe filling out the harmonies a little bit more. And because I'm building here, I also will probably increase the dynamics of the parts that are playing. So, and then I'm considering adding an accelerando. Been a long time since I said that word. Into the next section. We'll try it. If it works, great. If not, that's fine. I'll take it off. And then after B prime, I'm doing B plus again, just to transition 2 bars, where it's going to feel similar to B and B prime, where we're really going to be gearing up to the C section that's to follow. The whole point here is this is like the character's climbing on to that mythical creature, the owl, and getting ready to take flight. Because once C hits, they're going to be flying, and so it's going to feel like B and B prime in here, but it's really going to start to swell. There's going to be probably some like woodwinds that do a run up to a high note, and they crescendo into it, leading into C. So something like that. And then again, when I get to C, which is going to be 8 bars long, it's going to be when the character takes flight. And I want to create that flowing feeling where there's legatos over top. They create that sound of flight. There's a couple instances of that you can hear in a number of the Harry Potter tracks from the soundtrack. There's also Ori. I believe Ori and the Will of the Wisps has a couple tracks where there's a bird. I think it's actually an owl that takes flight. And I want to capture that sort of feeling. And then the next section is going to be a new section again, D, just 4 bars where they're still in flight. But this is where I want the character to be kind of contemplative and be thinking about what's to come. So the grandness and the brightness of the piece should come down a bit for these 4 bars as the character is looking inward. And then quickly after those 4 bars, come back up to the next section, C prime, which is basically a repeat of C, but even more soaring and glorious. So looking back at C, I want to use the melody that I create in A prime here and really just blow it out of the water, make it big, and same when I repeat it in C prime. So that's the plan, and with that in mind, I'm going to create ideas that should be enough for all of that. Probably starting with a melody that I want to introduce in A prime, and then developing other pieces from there, which might be kind of modifications of it. And I'm thinking I want a strong rhythmic motif for this that can be repeated, but in different ways, so it feels connected but varied. And then another thing that I've done a little bit before that I want to try here is work out ideas on just using a piano instrument and not worrying about putting it to a particular instrument yet. Again, just to take less thinking out of it, and then I can orchestrate from there. Okay, so in this project, I have it set to 6/8 because I feel like that complex duple feeling of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will probably lend itself very well to the flight portion. But another thing that I might do that could be good instead is to have the first sections A and A prime up to B and B plus, B and like 4/4, and then when I get to the flight, then switch to 6/8 and give it even more of a feel of flight then, but modify the melody from a 4/4 version to a 6/8 version when we arrive. But anyway, I did have some thoughts already before coming into this where I wanted to have a big leap at the beginning from D to C, because I feel like that big leap has a big grand feeling to it. Let me just play kind of the thoughts that I had so far. So something like that, and I was thinking of having it in Dorian mode, just because it feels kind of in between a major and minor. But we'll see where it goes. Okay, what was the rhythm I had? I did put it down here just so I wouldn't forget it, and I mostly remembered, but I did forget the rhythm. That's right. Okay. So that rhythm of ba 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 ba, I think that could repeat well. That's the sort of thing I'm going for rhythmically. That's not too bad. And then where can we go from there? Let's double the first note too. Oops. Yeah, I was playing with that, the kind of duple versus triplet feel there for the first note, but I think reflecting what the B is doing there could be nice. Oops. Oh no. What did I do there? All right, let's put that down before I forget it. Okay, let's just get that into place, and then I can maybe just try a whole other different melody, just so I have some options. Okay, how many bars is that? That is 6 bars. Okay, so before we move on to a completely new idea, let's try to make that into 8 bars. So let's duplicate it and just play with it. So that feels just like I was going to go on from there, but that just feels like I'm going to a different section. Or if I lengthen some things here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's extend that. I think I want that to start on the 1. Mm, 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 yeah, I think actually the 4 here. And then I can do those Ds that I was thinking here. Okay, you know, the other thing I just realized about figuring out these ideas on piano is that I'm going to do things that are naturally going to ask for different articulations from whatever instruments I put into that I otherwise wouldn't do. So a lot of times when I write, let's say for violins, and I have it on legato, I'm going to just be playing things that feel better played legato and not mix in short notes in between. So here, this would probably be legato on the violin, and then here, these short notes, I might do a staccato there, and then come back to legato here, or go spiccato, back to legato, something like that. Which, that sort of variation I used to do a lot. I used to do lots of key switches to change up the articulation to really, you know, give my pieces some depth, but I kind of just didn't get lazy. I think I approached it differently, but I need to get back around the other way. Anyway, I'm happy with that. Now let's do a new thought. I forgot what I did the first time. Okay, that's something. Let's put it down. So I was playing that beginning, I think, a little bit quicker than I was before putting the metronome to it. So I might lengthen that. Let's get this to land on the 1. And then let's try this over the whole measure. I don't think I like that. I think I was playing it more like this, which would be dotted quarters. Which doesn't feel like 6/8, but that's fine. Because if it is a change up to it, then that could be interesting. Again, the whole point here is still not to try to edit too much. Not edit, but not be too critical. Okay, how many bars is that? We have 4, 8. Okay, I'm going to leave that one. And then let's think about something else here. Okay, let's think more lyrical, more vocal like. Especially because if we want to have like this soaring melody for flying, I think if we do have short notes, it's just kind of in between to highlight and accent the long tones that get held. Oops. Oops. I mean, that's kind of huge range for a melody. What if instead of going an octave, then we just take the fifth, well, a fourth below, but yeah, I like that. Let's see it an octave below. Okay, something like that. Let's just put some down. This one, this version that ends on the C really feels like it wants to continue on. So that could be a good leading into something else. All right, let's just separate it here and then clean it up a bit. Okay, so we have 7 bars plus a pickup note. And I kind of want this D to land on the downbeat anyway. So let's check this out. Let's just make that one note. Same here. I don't think I like the repeat. Okay, and then we can just delete this because I just want to change the last note here. Change it to a C. Okay, let's trim the front off. Same here. Obviously, if I use that continuing from a previous phase, this will probably go into whatever else was right before it. Okay, and I was thinking maybe we try to transform this even more to have a different variation on the same thing. So let's duplicate and play around. Oops. Okay, let's try that one. Because I did like the other thing I did, where it was, but I feel like that's focusing around the minor third of, I almost said W to R because of the computer keyboard. The minor third of D to F. I feel like that's outlining that too much. And while I want to be kind of ambiguous, harmonically, melodically, scale wise, I think that's too much. Okay, so what was I doing? No, that was a G. Accidental key change? No, I don't think I need to do that here. But obviously something I'll consider in the future of this piece. Yeah, some Princess Leia. That's not too bad. Okay, so I don't think that this would flow into this, but this really, this really wants to go up to a D. I mean, we could even make it a C sharp. Okay, let's have both versions. So I'll put them right next to each other. Let's move this one over. And then have a C sharp version. Because it does sound kind of out of key. Like it's going to a completely different place, even though really I'm just trying to point it back up to the D. Yeah, anyway, so let's come up with a new thought. All right, let's think about some of these other sections outside of just that main melody. Let's think of some chords possibly at the beginning, but that has to likely harmonize nicely with obviously the melody there. Let's duplicate this. Okay, I like that version better, so let's work around here. Where was I? Where am I trying to get that? I'm just kind of guessing here, which has worked out so far. But that's too early. Okay, it's kind of jazzy. I like it. I don't know if it works. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't really work, but it does sound nice. Okay, let's put that in. Okay. I love to freak out as soon as I hit the record button. Okay, let's just figure out what it was I was doing. Okay, where am I off? There it is. Okay. I think I just have to bring that up from E. That was an accident. It still might be a little bit more jazzy than I wanted it to be, but who cares? Okay, what do we have here? Let's just put this underneath, see what happens. Okay, I don't hate that. I'll leave that for now. I'm not getting the rhythm here, but let's just put it in and then I can adjust it. Because I'm thinking about the notes I'm playing and then also which notes it is on the computer keyboard. So it's like I'm translating through. Okay, so I actually really like this C that then releases to just the B there. Okay, so I'm going to continue developing these ideas further, but I have some melodic ideas for now. Let's hear what they sound like in another instrument, just out of curiosity. I really like that one. I think that one came out real nice on the violins. Okay, and the violins they got some weird noise going on. I switched the microphone position from the default mix 1 to be the close mic and the tree mic instead, but it just sounds real funky, like a washy weird phase thing or something. I don't know. Before this one, let's double this. Let's bring this up an octave. Okay, and then let's just try some of this harmony below. Oops, move that over a bit. Okay, let's take just 3 of these parts. I guess I could give 2 of the parts to the solos, but that's fine. I'll just... Okay, let's start with the bass. That's obvious. And then... yeah, let's get rid of that F. The violas. I think maybe this D coming down. Let's bring this back down. Bring that back an octave just for now. Let's try that. Okay, so, writing the ideas on the piano first, I think, is really working out for me here. This is a lot better, I feel like, than I normally do, and a lot quicker. And I got a lot more ideas out. So I'm definitely going to continue developing it. But here it is again one more time. Okay, everyone, I will continue on this again in the next one. I'm really pretty excited for this. I like where it's at so far, and I want to see where it gets to as I expand these ideas, add more, get more rhythmic elements, and fill out the orchestration more. I think it's going to be really cool. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.